You're trading the farm for Drew Lock in the offseason. I mean, you should give up. Just trade Lance for Lock straight up. I think that's a fair deal. Do it, Lee. Rip him off. Take Lock for Lance. All right, we'll move on to the Colts. I won't do the wheel spin for the Colts, just because technically they're not eliminated from the playoffs yet. But I will do their state. So, they've got Drew Lock, traded for him in the offseason. He ended up having a fairly good season. I mean, 4,300 yards, 20 touchdowns, 66% completion percentage. He did take almost 60 sacks. That's a little concerning, but that's just something that in this Madden I think you're going to run into. Taylor had another really, really good year. I think he had something like 1,300 yards. 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns, another 600 through the air. And he's got Nyheim Hines, and so he's set at running back. That's not a position that Lee has to look for. Sherman's a nice fullback. He's 32, though. Bateman, Pittman, Campbell, even Pascal. All these guys are really good young foundation pieces. I don't know how Bateman ended up doing this season. 842 and 2 touchdowns. That's nice. You wish the touchdowns were more, because I don't think the touchdowns are going to be enough to get all rookie. Like, it'll be close, but that's not a bad season. I mean, compared to a lot of the other rookie wide receivers, I think it's going to be really good. But this is a position where Lee doesn't have to do anything at receiver, and he'll be fine. He could roll out with just these 5 guys, even if you want to include Doolin. Jack Doyle, Trey Burton. Burton was a great player for them this year. 1,100 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's stacked numbers for a tight end. Costanzo, he's here. He hasn't given up a sack this season, which is nice. But he's only signed for this year, so that's, is Braden Smith, did he, I guess the question is, did Costanzo even play? Because he has Braden Smith. No, Costanzo didn't play, that's why I didn't give up any sacks. So Braden Smith, 25, he just got re-signed to a big contract. Quinn Nelson, one of the best guards in the game. Ryan Kelly, one of the best centers in the game. Lindsley is fine. Samuel Cosme, I really like Cosme. If Lee didn't take him, I would have drafted Cosme. I'm also a Texas fan, so I was a little biased, but he's a rookie, so I'm not gonna hold his 14 sacks against him, because right tackles and left tackles seem to give up a ton of sacks in this Madden. Kamiko Turi is fine. He could look to get better here, but it looks like he just got he's in the last year of his deal, so he could look to get better. Bud Dupree is, getting older, so the end spots is somewhere where he could definitely look to get younger in the draft. His 2 defensive tackles went absolutely off this season. This is a spot where, like, he has no worries at defensive tackle. He's not gonna have to do anything. 22 sacks, 10 tackles for loss, 8 forced fumbles. This DeForest Buckner was an absolute beast for Lee. Like, I don't think a lot of teams would want to play the Colts in the playoffs just because of these 2 guys. 19 sacks, only 3 tackles for loss. That's a little concerning, but the 19 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 3 recovered. Like, that's huge. He's got, like, Tyquan should get a dev boost here. and that'll be helpful. Darius Leonard, stud. Bobby Okereke, I like him. You've got Darren Lee too, so he's got two really fast middle linebackers. I mean, even Anthony Walker. This is not a bad middle linebacker group, depending on what Lee wants to do here. I like all of them. I would keep these guys around. And then Baron Browning, another fast guy. So he's got really good young linebackers. I mean, his oldest is 26, so he doesn't have to worry about that. Kenny Moore is a fine corner. Antoine Dickerson, I think, must be Lee's legacy player. Am I right, Lee? I think he must be your legacy player. But then he's got Rock. He's got a really good base of guys here. Malik Hooker's really good. I mean, I guess you could say that like his secondary is really sad. He doesn't have to do anything here. Realistically, like for Lee, I think depending on where he ends up picking, so he doesn't have a second, but he does have all his other picks. He's got, I guess you could say, like, is Locke the future? Would be the one question, but he has to be, at least for this year going forward. You could maybe say he needs a right guard. But I think if I'm Lee and in this draft, I'm definitely looking at this very deep front seven class, like especially on the edges. That's the wrong. He's probably going to pick middle first, but I mean, you could take a guy like Derek Ware or any of these guys. Like there are a ton of guys in this draft class that Lee could look at to go. I think Lee's in a really good spot going forward. I'm going to see if after this game, if I can stream my game with the Titans, so we'll know for sure whether Lee's making the playoffs or not. Let me actually do that right now. So, Lee, if you have any questions for me, or if anybody does about the Colts or the Saints, I guess, throw them in Twitch chat and I'll answer them. Alright, I will be streaming my game against the Titans right after this, so no questions? Alright.